So today, instead of my standard video log, I will create a live session with MegaLoMania, our retro game, where I'm currently working on and creating a remastered version. So instead of showing you my version of the game, we will play the original today, so you can better understand what I'm actually doing and how far we are and how the game is actually working. First of all, you can choose between the 4 colors. So we have the red Scarlet, we have the yellow Oberyn, and the green Caesar, and the blue Madcap. So I always think the most coolest one is Madcap. I will decide for the blue color and go with it. So in general, it is just the color which makes a difference here. So you don't have to choose anything because they behave different. Every one of these gods can do the same things, it's just a different color. And also I think if they are played by the AI, there is a bit of difference, and it's also stated in the text. So if you see for the Scarlet, for example, it's a more aggressive playstyle the AI is using, so you can feel a difference in that, but for the player it doesn't make any difference which color you choose. So what's special about it? We're playing through 9 epochs, and with every epoch we have 3 islands to conquer. And to get to the second epoch, we need to clear all of these 3 islands. So the first one is this map with the 2 tiles. You can choose. You can also start with the green one here, for example, or with the white one. But the current it would be, this one is normally the first one, so you play versus one AI opponent, and there you should begin. Another special thing is we have 100 people we can choose off, so we can, if we would like to play with just 10 people, we can do that, or if we want to with more people, we can just fill them or do less one. The cool thing about it is if you reach the second epoch, you take over all your men you left over. So if you decide to play with fewer people, it's always better, because within the next epoch you have more men to play with, and it makes it much easier to have more people, of course. So usually in the first epoch I'm trying to play with someone like 15 men, so I get over the most in the second epoch. So this is the picture you maybe know. First of all, I always increase the speed of the game, because my people need to grow up at first, because with 15 people the inventions take quite a while, and it's always cooler to have more people, because everything is working faster. Then if you have more people here in the selection, they will grow faster. If you use more people for your invention, they will invent faster. So the highest goal is always to have as much as possible, because everything then works as fast as it could be. So with 20, it's normally a good number to invent our first stuff. So we take up the rock, it's our first attack invention, put in our 20 designers, and as you can see, our first invention is finished. So then I would use the stone and create just an army. The enemy is attacking us right now, so I have to defend that. As you can see in the numbers above, I'm with more people, which is quite good. So I defended it successfully, and I take over my people and destroy the enemy now, which is hopefully enough. So he tries to defend it, and we got it. So this was the first mission. Yeah, but it was quite close, because the enemy was attacking us very early. So yeah, we have to be careful. But then I tried with another 50 people. Also, there's a difference in the different tiles for the map. Sometimes there are good resources, and sometimes they are bad sectors with very bad resources. And this will slow down our inventions. Usually, because some invention needs some more resources than others, and it's always the best sector if you have these auto-gained or auto-mining resources, because here you don't need to invest any people to mine the resources. They are mined automatically, and that's the best case for us, because then we can just start with our rock and take it over. This unfortunately just works in the first epoch, because this is quite easy, and our first inventions doesn't take up as any special resources. So later on we have to mine resources, and then it will become a complete different game. So for the first epoch I just try to rush through as fast as possible so that we can show up some more cool inventions, and yeah, why the game is actually quite fun. But as you can see, the most important stuff for now is to take over the most people I have, because then we can take over the people and can make cooler stuff within the later epochs. This is a kind of very strategical decision, because if you have later less people, the missions are unbeatable. I'm not sure if I can say that, but they are quite hard then, and I think at some point if you have less people it won't work out in the end. So it is quite hard to balance this stuff, to have just not too few people, because if you have too few people you just can't win a mission, and if you are able to handle it well with too many people, then you may have took too many people and you could have saved some for later missions. But every island plays a bit different layout. So in this one, for example, I have 2 enemies, and if I'm rushing him and he is good defending, I'm of course losing some of my people, which isn't quite cool, because then the other opponent has an easier game with us. So I hope my people are not dying as much. So we have 16 left over. Not sure if we can beat him with that, because it's kind of an all-in strategy I'm playing. Yeah, as you can see, he has now more people than I am, and on my sector I've just now 1 people left, and yeah, he has just more and just can kill us. So oh, that was the wrong key. How can I quit the mission? Oh, with enter.
Putting you on hold.
So I have to quit this one because yeah, it was too few people. So I will take more people with us and try it again. Yeah, as said, it's always a balance act, and you always have to try out different combinations of people, different inventions whatsoever. But I guess this time we are fast enough to win it, hopefully. So we have 22 people. I spawned directly into the combat of them. I should have waited so that they combat each other. Nevertheless, it's just normal people. So I guess we got it here. Will he defend or not? Is the big question. No, he won't. So with 20 people, it was kind of easy. So this was the first epoch, and then we are already in the second one. We have this snow island with 5 and 2 enemies. We have this desert island with also 2 enemies, and this map. I know that this map is quite hard, so we will see. But let us start with the snow island. Yeah, I just tried with 20 people for now. I can go with 25. As you can see, within the second epoch, we already start now in the second epoch. So the Stone Age is already over, and we are starting already with the 3000 BC one. And this is always the case if you reach the Nether epoch. So if we are beating all the 3 islands here and going through the third epoch, then we will start with the 100 HD. I guess with, yeah, I think it's the 101, but yeah, you grow in the epochs, and also the start epoch always changing. As I said before, now we have some resources with the second epoch now we can also mine from. This will allow us to tech up to later inventions. and we get some higher inventions which makes more damage, etc. But yeah, as I said, I always try to focus on the first attack invention and go as fast as possible to rush the enemies here. Of course, we could tech through all epochs now and yeah, make a longer game out of that, but that would us cost much more man to fight against the AI. So I try to rush to the first 2-3 epochs, just rush through them and beat them as fast as possible, because I guess at the 3rd or 4th epoch it's a quite heavy game, so it will be much more difficult there. The first 6 islands are quite easy. You will see that also the difficulty is raising the further we play, and then we will need our people we saved by now. So as you can see, we are in the 2nd epoch. Now we need the slingshot as our first attack. The rock we don't have anymore. We are now more more evolved and don't use rocks anymore. We can't even if we want to. So our first attack invention is now the slingshot. By the way, I think I forgot to say I'm playing the Sega version, so it was the Sega Genesis version. I think it was the latest release of MegaLoMania, and in my opinion it's the best version of the game, because it has more sound effects than the original one, and also has some updated effects. Like you can see here in the overview, we have some animated water that wasn't in the Amiga version, and also not in the PC version, as far as I can remember. So I actually like the Sega version the most, but it also has its problems, so I can show you in a minute. The problem on the Sega version is that the rendering is quite slow. If you change the sector, it's always complete blending out the island and then reloading all of that. That's kind of yeah, how to say, sloppy. The other versions were there quite fast and had a better render method for that. Oh, sorry, I just will look into the chat if I can. So
the design's ready.
So if you want to know something or have some questions, just ask, I can see them. But for now, as I said, we're rushing to the 2nd epoch, and with the 3rd epoch or 4th, we will tech up a little bit, and then I can explain some more of the stuff. But this is pretty straightforward. We're just teching up our first invention, using as few people as we want to, or as we could, just teching up and rushing through the enemy. So this was the 2nd epoch. We are already done with it, and now we are in the 3rd epoch, and I think from here on it will be much harder to win. So I first try with 30 people to play with them. Yeah, also when the islands now became larger than before, there are a lot of sectors in here which aren't quite good. So there are bad resources for the inventions, and then you have to spend lots of men to actually mine resources. This means you have less men to attack, and this is yeah, quite slow. Then you can't attack. Sometimes you just have to try out the island, so you stay with your 30 people, for example, and just try out different sectors, and you have to find out which sector is the best. So I was lucky. We have here 2 auto mining, so I know that this one, yeah, I said I was lucky. No, I am not. This one has just a shield, and we don't have any more resources. As you can see, we don't have a hole on the screen, so we can't mine any more resources. So this is actually a dead sector, I would call it, because we can just invent the shield, and yeah, it doesn't help us. So I take all my men and try to conquer another sector. And try to find out which sector of this island is has a very good potential or good resource distribution. So yeah, you can just set over all your people and you can build new sectors with just waiting. In this case, you can see we have here 2 mining resources, which needs our people. So we need to assign people to mine. And as you can see, we don't have any inventions. Now it's the first invention which is upcoming. This means that our invention will cost a lot of resources. So we need the resources to actually build anything, and our first sector is already destroyed from the yellow one, so it won't take long, and we are also defeated here. I can show you, this is our health of our building, so we lost in a minute. But that's not a problem, because we already know that these both sectors are pretty bad and we shouldn't use them. So we try another one. Oh, what's much too many, man. We just stay on 30 for now and just use this sector and look if this one is much better. Hopefully it is better. So as you can see, now we have a lucky sector. We have auto mining on the resources and we have our invention available. So here's the auto mine, and we have enough of them, so we can invent our peak.
The design's ready.
And now we were attacked by the yellow one before, so I want to eliminate the yellow one as the first one. The peak is quite heavy, or quite strong, better said. So if the opponent isn't so far with this invention, he will die pretty quick. So we eliminate him. And now we should go for the green one before he has some cool stuff invented. So, and as you can see, you have to try out different sectors, and the game is playing out completely different. In some sectors it's the hardest game in the world, and if you got the right one or a lucky sector where everything is quite accessible, then the game is pretty easy. You have 2 options in this case. You can one option is always to spend more men, which is but actually quite bad, because you want to save as much men as you could. This is also very bad sector. Or you just try out different sectors, and I think you should always try out different sectors, and if you found a good one, you know how to win this island. But sometimes there are only 3 sectors, for example, and you don't have a choice. Then your only possibility is to spend more men, and that's the case why we want to save as much men as possible, because there are some levels where we just need to spend pretty much men, and there we want to have them as as a credit or something like that. So it's always important to save mans, because if you have to play every epoch with just the 100 men, it will be quite hard, especially in the end. In the end you will have to mine resources, and you have to assign people to gain resources, and then you will need more than 30 people. Oh, I just see the stream is quite bad. I just try to re-enable the full screen mode. Maybe it helps. Yeah, it seems to be... Yeah, it looks better now. Yeah, we're attacking now. We have tested out 3 different sectors, and all of them were pretty bad. So we just wait for our defeat and try it with another one. Yeah, you can already say that the red one has a quite good sector, because it's always like the one who is attacking you first has normally the best sector, but you can't do anything because he is choosing first, and we are just the last one. We have to choose whatever is over. Okay, he won't attack us, then I will quit here. Yes, 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 come on. I want to play again. So we stay on 30 man for now. And just try to use the different sector. Oh, we can choose first actually. Then I would choose the red one because we saw in the game before that the red sector was quite good. Yeah, and as you can see, we have here the peak for available. We have auto mining, some resources. So I would say it's one of the best sectors on this island.
The design's ready.
So we can just take our peak and rushing over.
You're running out of elements.
Actually, the kind, yeah, how I play is very effective to run through the islands. But I think the beautiful part of the game lies into taking up and yeah, explore the different epochs. I always like that the most, to just be, yeah, over evolved and just pawning the enemies as hard as possible. So let us try on this map to tech up a little bit. So normally if you want to tech up, you have to look for your man in total. So we have now 33, and normally everything above 30 is growing quite fast. So I try to balance them on 30, and everyone who's growing is just putting into my resources. And I normally go into resources with 10 people. Then the rate, which is mining, is quite good. So for now we have everything we need. We will this time go defensive and try to take up, as I said. We can also balance the invention here. So if we take less people to invent, then the remaining people has some some time to grow also. And
The design's ready.
yeah, as said, it's always the best to have as most people as possible. And it's the balance act. So just try out what's working best. It's always a problem because the enemy can every time just fight you and kill you, and that's always the problem.
The design's
So it is a balance between resources, people, and time you have. So this time I placed some defenses. We have our bows here. Now I would try to invent our peak. And then we should evolve into the next epoch. Yeah,
We've advanced a
yeah.
top level.
As you can see, it also has a render problem if we advance to the next epoch. That's one of the flaws of the Sega versions, in my opinion. But yeah, it's the most beautiful version, so it's a trade-off. So now with the 900 AD, we have the first time the possibility to build a second building, and that's the mine. And with the mine, as you can see here, we got a lot of new resources. And within the new resources, I think that's just normal people. Yeah, they try to kill our defense people, because the enemy likes to destroy the defense, because then our towers are undefended and then he can just easier go into.
The design's
So I
ready.
try to replace them. Also with the new building we have 2 new slots for defenders, which is cool, because more defenders is more power actually. And as you can see here now, we have a lot of new inventions, and they are also quite advanced inventions. And I'm also grown up to 70 people already, which is really cool, because now we can spend more people onto inventing and so on.
We've advanced.
So now we reach the next epoch. I try to take up as far as possible, and I hope to survive as long as possible. So now we have a new building in the next epoch. The third building is now available. This is the factory. Also, the factory is allowing us to place more people. And we also
They're running out of elements.
he's already now trying to kill our defenses. We don't want to kill it. Hello. Hello. I want to get over there. So, yeah, it's a bit... the design of the factory is a bit misleading, because you can just place 3 defenders there, and the top tower isn't a spot actually. So, yeah, they misdesigned it a bit, in my opinion. Why is this screen so flickering? This sucks. So now we reached 1850 AD. And my controls are missing. No, I'm back. So we can now create our fourth building, which is the laboratory, and that's the last building. So as you can see now, we have all our buildings which existing in the game. So we have a total number of 10 defenders. Yeah, let us go through the last invention. I try to take up more. As you can see, what is quite cool. He already tries to kill our defenders. So in the factory now we can build our attack stuff, like these cannons, for example. I want to defend again. So we have just one cannon. Yeah, the problem is that we don't have much resources, so we can't spend a lot onto the different attack inventions. And that just shows me that we have another very, very bad sector here. Yeah, everything is healthful, really healthy. So you can here create cannons, as I said, and with the number below here you create how many, and this is the people who are working on them. But as you can see, always if the resources are spent, they gone away. And now we are also attacked. And I think I'm too slow. Damn it. It's not easy with the keyboard. So we have just 5 cannons left. By the way, 250 is the maximum number of people on a sector. So we try to fight against them. Maybe we can conquer the sector. And we are also losing our sector. So I guess the game is quite lost. Yes. Yeah, so we learned another thing, that the sector in the top right corner is not very good or effective. So we try the right below corner. And also you can see if the people are raising that high, that the controls became a bit of a bottleneck, because yeah, I just played with the keyboard now, and this game was actually designed to play with keyboard, with controller on the Sega. I think it's a bit easier. But in my case, as a PC gamer, I always find that the mouse controls on the PC or Amiga game were the best, because with the mouse I'm a lot faster than here. I have always to use the arrow keys to come to the next inventions. So what we can try is mine a lot of this one, reduce them because we don't need them. But I think also this sector is quite bad. Yeah, we have 6 peaks, that's nothing. Yeah, so I would try to use the last sector to actually win the game. Otherwise we have to spend a lot more people. So let us talk a bit about my remake of this game, or better said, why I want to remake the game. I actually like the concept behind the game quite a lot, because this tagging up on your own sector was a really cool gameplay in my opinion. Also that racing through the different epochs, and as you may notice, everything is changing as well. So the voices are changing within the epochs, and also the small interface graphics for the people, for the man, are changing and always fitting to the epoch we are actually in. So as you can see here, this below, the man is the Stone Age man, but we are already in the 4th epoch. So if we play the game, the man is changing to the man of the 4th epoch. So they are evolved and they are now already in, I think, in the Dark Age. We are in the Dark Age or something like that. So I think this whole evolving concept behind this game is really funny, and it's a lot of fun to try out different sectors, epochs and inventions. And also this balance between the people you use for a mission, you spend for the mission, you can take over, is very unique. I think something like that, it doesn't exist in modern games anymore. Yeah, and another reason for me to make a remake is just because I think the game was quite good. It was really a masterpiece in its time. The problem is the RTS genre was, yeah, how I said, was just started, and there aren't so much titles already which are real-time strategy, and I like this concept very much. But there were other games like Dune 2, for example, and also I think 2 years later the Command and Conquer series began. So this was this became the standard of the RTS genre, I would say. And MegaLoMania was in the same time, but hasn't had that success. And yeah, I'm quite unsure if it's because the game wasn't that good like Dune 2 or Command and Conquer. In my opinion, it was just not popular enough or not seen as a good game in this time, and that's why the game wasn't that popular, or the RTS genre evolved in another way, I would say. But I think this game has a lot of potential, and I want to check that out. If even a very classic gameplay like this one could make some fun in modern days. So I'm quite interested in that, and even if I like all these classic... One moment. Even if I like the classic controls, and even the graphics aren't that bad, so I would say you can also play it today without getting some cancer in the eyes or something like that. So it's quite playable today, but it's lacking some features, of course. So we are very limited. We have just this 9 epochs for campaign mode, and also, yeah, as I said, the controls are quite old and yeah, not very modern. And also, of course, the graphics and resolutions are quite outdated. if you want to play it in the original version, you need some kind of Amiga emulator, or maybe you have already you have an Amiga at home. That would be nice, of course, but it's quite hard to get it running. Or you can play it like I am doing over a web browser, but I feel always it isn't the same. Yeah, and I just would like to play it with modern graphics, so I decided to make that one with 3D and low poly. And this would increase make the game just more modern. I also thinking about adding new modern features. So one thing I always had in the old days, where I played this game quite a lot, but you just can go through the campaign mode and just winning or losing and reaching the end and just complete the campaign, but you wasn't able to play versus your friends, because in the old days there weren't such things as multiplayer like nowadays with high-speed internet connections or something like that. So I think it would be very, very cool to play this game versus real enemies, so versus your friends or just over the internet. I mean, this game could maybe become in competitive esport title, so it would be possible to play this one in some kind of ranked games, and I guess this would be very, very nice. So this is actually one of my ideas to invent for this game, and that's why I decided to make a remastered version of it. So these are at least the ideas and my intentions behind that. And of course I want to just bring back the old feeling of this masterpiece game. As I said, it's quite cool to play it here in emulator, and it also brings back a lot of memories, and the playstyle is really, really cool. Even if the game is now, I guess it was 92 when it came out, so we have 7. I can't calculate. Is it already 27 years old? It has to be. But you can play it still. As I said, it's quite cool even to play now. It brings back a lot of memories, and it's quite fun. And I of course hope that the remastered version would make at least as most fun as this game do anyway. And if you then had some kind of multiplayer or some survival mode or whatsoever, it would just add more things to the game. So I think this is also now the first epoch where we have now air forces. I always think that air forces and the nuclear weapons are very special in this game. I always liked the aircrafts so much, and also the nuclear weapon fights just awesome in this game. But as you can see here on my sector now, I have 4 different resources to mine to go through the inventions I have. And yeah, that makes the game a lot more slower than the first epochs, where you can just go through one attack invention and just start to rushing the enemy. And now you're also at the point that 30 people to begin with are very, very few, because you have to spend them on gaining the resources.
We've advanced a tech level.
And if you spend just too many of them, they won't grow out. So if you have something like 4 resources to mine, it would be the best place to be in with when you have something like 100 men or something like that. But you can't use just 100 for one mission. So this is the most challenging part of the game, I would say, to have a lot of people, or have enough men to actually win the epoch, because the problem is that the AI is always getting more and more men. As you can see, they expanding so much because they have so much people, and if you just defend your sector with just some defense weapons, they will just overrun you with normal people, because they have so much man they can just throw away, and you have to balance your few peoples, and this is very challenging, and it becomes more challenging within every epoch you conquer through.
We've advanced a tech level.
So now we are here. Hopefully we have some aircraft I can show you. That's also a case. You can not all inventions are available on every sector. So as I said before, you always have to see if you're on the right sector for that you want to have. So as you can see, I have more than 10 resources of each, and I can just start to design a machine gun, and I don't have any attack invention of that epoch. This actually means that the aircraft isn't available on my sector. And you never know which sector is offering that, so I would like to quit this one and test another one, so that I can show you some aircraft. Because I think the aircraft is one of the coolest thing in the game. Yeah, just let's have some fun. I guess it is the last island I play for today, so I take all my men and show you how the game is working out if you play with such many men. So now we are in a complete different starting position. If you put in like 100 people, for example, or mining with just 30 or 50 people, you are having another game, because the growing of the people is going so fast, and now we can try to just attack through everything we have. And I also hope that we have the right sector for getting some airplanes.
The design's ready.
But as you can see, if you have so much man, you can just tech through the invention, and it's everything going quite fast. A giant catapult. So next tech level.
A tech level.
Then we just invent the giant catapult. Also we starting our factory.
We've advanced a tech level.
Then we start our laboratory. Also with the laboratories there came a lot. There are some new inventions. Yeah, and we have the A-planes. A biplane is it actually. So let us invent the biplane and afterwards create some of them. I think they take a lot of elements.
The design is finished.
So as you may hear, also the voice is changing with each epoch, which is quite cool. And I'm not sure yet if I can somehow reach this quality in my remastered version, because the audio and music stuff will be the hardest part of the remaster, because I think this was one of the most special things on this game, that it was so crazy good, that there are so good sound effects and voice acting.
Will you join me?
Ah yeah, another thing we also have. I can't. Hello, he's attacking me, but I have some planes. We will defend with our planes. This is cool. So we are now defending with airplanes versus bowmans, and these kind of battles are just crazy. I just love it. If there are some planes and you have on the ground some bowmans or something like that. Yeah, what was it? Yeah, I wanted to say that this is also some kind of a feature. You can also ally up with the other guys. So if I ask them to ally with me, I just can hear, and they just answer me if they want to or not. But most of them, as you see, Oberyn wants to. So we are now in an ally, and
Production runs completed.
we can now kill together the enemies. There are also some disadvantages. If you have an alliance, you can't conquer any sectors anymore. but also the AI will not attack you anymore. So I can show you another cool thing about the airplanes. With the normal army, you just can walk to this sector, which is left, which is boarding to the other sector. So you can just go one sector with ground army. But with the airplanes, I can just take them and flew over here, for example. And this is very cool. And as you can hear, we also have some different sound effects for the planes, which is so cool. And of course there are also, with the next epoch, there are starfighters or something like that. So there are much more advanced planes. And I think afterwards we have the first time the nuclear bombs. And in the last epochs I think there are some UFOs. So these are quite cool technologies. Also for this old game, it's so cool with all these effects. But as you can see, the biplanes are very strong. And the enemies won't stand a chance against us. So let us just win this. But as I said, I spent all my men before, so if you do that, you won't be able to play any further. So even if I win this mission, I just have 2 people left, and with 2 people you won't be able to beat the other missions. So if you reach that point that you have too few men to actually win the mission, your only chance is to restart the whole game. And as I said before, you then need to win all these islands with fewer people, and this is the really hard challenge. Oh, I'm actually an ally with him, so I can destroy him, of course. I was wondering why it took so long. Yeah, so the real challenge is to balance your people and to have as much men as possible for the later epochs. You can test around a lot. I also were able back in the old days that I could won the first island, for example, with 5 people or something like that. But this slows down the gameplay quite a lot, and you have to wait a long time that you even can invent some stuff, because with 5 people everything is taking ages. So the last sector. Won't get down. Why not? Well, you want to kill it. We have so many people.
The production run's completed.
Oh, we have another 22 planes. I just sent them over. Oh, it's too late. Yeah, so as I said, I now have just 2 people left, so I can't play any further here. Oh, just 1 people, so I have to take 1, and you won't be able to win it with 1. So I hope you enjoyed this playthrough so far. For everyone else who not seen the live stream, I will cut the video in later and upload it as a small tutorial about the game. What is this game all about? And hopefully everyone who's watching the live the video logs of mine is now better understanding the game in general. I hope I explained a lot and enough for you, and it were understandable for you, so that you are now more aware of the original game and what I am actually doing there. Also, as usual, if you have any feedback, questions, whatever, just drop them below the video or on the other things. For all others, you can of course find my first demo version of the remastered version at rainware.net on my website. Also, you can of course look into my channel. There are enough links and below the video, etc. So see you next week. Bye.